And the story begins when Savitri says to her father, I love Satyavan, son of the blind king Dumatsena. But he's cursed, replied her father. He's doomed to die within a year of marriage. But death can only fall once. A daughter can be given in marriage once only, well, ideally. And again, ideally, only once can father say, I give my daughter away. And father, I have chosen once only my husband. I will not choose twice. Arriving in the forest where the blind king had taken refuge with his son, Savitri's father asked him to accept his daughter as his daughter-in-law. But the blind king replied, no, but now we have given up the world. How will your daughter cope, unused to the hardships we bear each day? But putting off all her jewellery and dressing herself in bark and cloths dyed in red, Savitri said, I love Satyavan. He is all the comfort I seek in this life. And so they married. But the curse mentioned by her father was present night and day in her mind. And all too soon the hour that had been appointed for the death of Satyavan arrived. Thinking that her husband would die the following day, she decided not to eat until sunset. Satyavan, seeing her fasting, took up his axe to find wood for the fire that would be needed for their evening meal. And Savitri, unwilling to bear separation even for a minute, chose to go with him deep into the forest. Satyavan, full of energy, plucked fruits and filled his basket, all the while remarking on the full rivers they were crossing and how lush the trees were as they wandered through the forest. Coming upon a clearing, he started chopping the branches for the fire. And as he did so, he began to sweat, and soon his head began to ache. I'll have a short sleep. Savitri sat down on the ground beside him and laid his head in her lap. But no sooner had Satyavan fallen asleep, Savitri saw a man dressed in red and with reddish eyes, carrying a noose in his hand. He stood next to Satyavan, his eyes fixed on the rising and falling of his chest. Placing her husband's head gently on the ground, Savitri stood up to confront the stranger. Tell me who you are and what you intend. The stranger replied, I am Yama, the god of... Your husband's days are gone. I have come to bind him in this noose and take him away. Oh, but why have you come in person? Do you have no servants to do your bidding? Does not deserve to be taken away by servants. Saying this, Yama pulled out of the body of Satyavan his soul, which measured no more than a thumb, bound it in the noose, and started to walk away. But Savitri began to follow. You've come as far as is possible. Go now. Go. Perform the funeral rites and free yourself from all obligations to your husband. Savitri replied, well, wherever my husband is being carried, I will follow. That's the vow of friendship we took when we went round our marriage fire 7 times. Yama was pleased by what Savitri said and in the manner in which she spoke. Accept only the life of your husband. Ask me whatever you want. I'll grant your desire. Well, my father-in-law, bereft now of sight, leads a life of retirement in this forest. Let the king see again. Done. Now go now. Go. Suffer not to be weary and go. But how can I be weary in the presence of my husband? I have always believed a mere second spent with a noble is time well spent, even more so with friends. A nanosecond spent with those who are good can never, ever be fruitless. And so, well, best of all is to spend time with those who are good. Well, Yama was thrilled. Oh, you delight my ears, yeah, and you add to my knowledge. Grant you a second wish, with the proviso, of course, that it is not the life of Satyavan. So Savitri chose her second wish. My father-in-law lost his kingdom when he became blind. I'd like him to regain it. Done. Now, return and make no trouble. Oh, a moment, please. Said Savitri. Is it not true the eternal duty of the good is never to injure others by thought, word, or deed, but to always give them their due, to show mercy to even their enemies when they seek their protection? And are you not the personification of good? Oh, you bring water to my thirsty soul, said Yama. So ask again, any wish, and except, of course, for Satyavan's life. Well, my father has no sons. I wish for him 100 sons, so he may rest in peace that his line will be perpetuated. Oh, only 100? There, it is done. No more talk now. Leave me to continue my journey along the road alone. Gosh, you know, walking beside my husband, I've lost all sense of distance. It's as if my mind is rushing ahead. Do listen some more as we continue along your road. And Savitri began to praise Yama as the Lord of Justice, and as such inspiring of devotion. And who would not want to spend time with the just? Yama, flattered beyond measure, granted her a fourth wish, yet still with the caveat that she asked not for her husband's life. Grant that Satyavan and me have children, I beg you. Oh, so be it. Now, please, no more. Go back. You've already come too far. Can I just, said Savitri. With the righteous, I mean, of course, your good self, always practice morality, and by their truth they make the sun move in the heaven and support the earth by their austerities. It is the righteous upon whom both the past and the future depend, and so they become the protectors of all, without, of course, expecting any benefit in return. The more you speak in such a fashion, the more is the respect I feel for you, for your wisdom. Ask for some incomparable wish. Well, said Savitri, the last gift that you have given me is impossible to achieve without union, if that's not too impolite a word in present company, with my husband. So, of course, I have to ask that my husband Satyavan be restored to life. After a pause, Yama silently untied the noose and then said, "You have outwitted me. The gifts I have given cannot be undone. So here is your husband, freed by me. He will be free from disease throughout his long life, and your children, with their children in turn, will forever be famed as the children of Savitri, she who humbled death. And then Yama left. After he had gone, Savitri went back to the spot where her husband's ash-coloured corpse lay, and taking hold of him, she placed his head on her lap and herself sat on the ground. When Satyavan regained consciousness, he said, "Oh, I've slept for a very long time. Why did you not wake me?" "Well, you needed to sleep." "You know, in my sleep," he said, it was dark all around me, and in its midst I saw an extraordinarily bright person. Did I dream this person? Or was it real?" Savitri said, "Oh, the night deepens. Let's go. I'll tell you everything." Supporting a still weak Satyavan, Savitri guided her husband through the forest back to their home, vowing never to speak of her meeting with the god of death.